So, wow, that was a really long study session, wasn't it, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what do you like to do when you're all done doing your homework? Math, right?
Math?
Yeah. Okay, math. All right, so we're going to do a couple problems. One we'll deal with...
We're just staring at a tree.
Yeah, we're staring at a tree because that's relaxing, and so is math. Okay, so we're going to do a problem on Reglan, which is a medication we use for nausea, and another problem...
Staring at a tree is not relaxing.
It kind of is. All right, and then we'll do another problem on a medication for urinary elimination, and maybe we'll throw in an extra one for constipation. Okay, so let's start with our first problem. Excuse me, and this is a problem that involves a medication called Reglan, which is for nausea and vomiting. It can increase the rate of gastric emptying, which helps with that nausea. So we have 15 milligrams IM, Q6 hours, PRN, and it's applied in a vial, or an ampule, I'm sorry, it's in an ampule. And don't let any of this information distract you. What you're really looking at is a strength or concentration of 5 milligrams per ml, okay? So let's shrink that down just a tiny bit so we can set up our problem in dimensional analysis. And I know a lot of you are taking a look at this and going, I can do this in my head. Let's just do it anyway, okay? So we start with the end in mind, which is milliliters per dose, because that's what we're drawing up in our syringe is milliliters. That's what we can measure with our eyes. And let's move backwards. We want all our milliliters on the top and all our doses are on the bottom. So we know that 1 ml is equivalent to 5 milligrams, and our ml's on the top. And we know that the dose that's ordered, we want the dose on the bottom, is equivalent to 15 milligrams. Now, if we did this right, we can cancel out, and we're left with only milliliters per dose. So let's see if that happens. We can cancel out milligrams, and what we're left with is milliliters per dose. So now we can go ahead and multiply across. And what we have is 15 milliliters per 5 doses. Now, if you're good with fractions, you can just reduce that fraction, or you can take out your calculator or do the long division, and what you'll end up with is 3 mLs. Now, when you get to medication administration, you'll see that's kind of a large dose for an IM injection, but that's a discussion for another day. Today, it's just a math problem, and your answer for that math problem is 3 mLs. So our next order is for a medication called terazosin, and terazosin, also known as Hytrin, is a medication that we use sometimes for different reasons. We can use it for blood pressure because it does relax blood vessels, but another thing that it does is it relaxes the muscles of the neck of the bladder in a man who has prostatic hypertrophy. It's a disorder you'll learn about next semester when we talk about male and female reproductive disorders. But basically it promotes urinary flow in somebody who's got maybe a little retention because of that prostate issue. So our order is for 10 milligrams PO daily. It's supplied in these capsules, 5 milligram capsules. Okay. So we want to set it up in dimensional analysis. And this, again, a lot of people will look at this and say, I'm doing it in my head, Professor Mulcahy. I really don't need to set it up in dimensional analysis. Just get in the habit, because as we move along, problems will get more complicated. And if you have a technique that works for everything, you're okay. So let's go ahead and set that up. We begin with the end in mind. We want to know how many tablets, or actually, you know what, let me erase that. How many capsules per dose. And we know we have per dose, well, let's start with the capsules. Our capsules are 5 milligrams, and we want our capsules on top because that's where they are in the answer. And now we want our dose on the bottom, so the dose that's ordered is 10 milligrams. If we did this right, everything's going to cancel out except capsules per dose. So milligrams cancels out, that works. And what we're left with is capsules per dose, which is what's in the answer. We can go ahead and multiply across, and we end up with 10 capsules, over 5 doses. When we do the math, we can divide 10 by 5, or we can just reduce our fraction if we're good with fractions. and we end up with 2 capsules. Some of you did that math in your head before I even set this up, and that's okay. Just remember, if you know how to do dimensional analysis, you can work on many more complicated problems. And that really concludes our little moment of Math Zen. I hope it helped you as much as it helped me. I feel much more relaxed now. All right, when we talk next week, we'll be doing topics like rest and sleep, pain, safety. So take a little break, get yourselves organized, and I'll see you in class.